Are you thinking, what's Massachusetts' top attraction? Well, we got it for you!
And say it a little bit differently.
Okay. We've got it for you. No. We have it just for you! We have it for you! Here it is! Hey everyone, my name is Matt Swierk. You know I'm a local real estate expert right here in Massachusetts with the state of Massachusetts. That's true. Okay, all right. Hey everyone, my name is Matt Swierk. I'm a local real estate expert right here in the state of Massachusetts with the Legacy Star team powered by Keller Williams Realty. Now, if this is the first time you come to the channel, welcome. We appreciate it. You're going to click the subscribe button. You're going to click the bell. You're going to give us thumbs up. We're firing away. This channel is everything about Massachusetts. We talk about all the fun things to do, all the places to go, including the top outdoor attraction in Massachusetts. So you have questions about the state, we have answers about the state. Reach out to us any way possible. The biggest thing you got to remember about this channel, when it comes to Massachusetts, we've always got your back. All right, today we're talking about the most popular outdoor attraction here in Massachusetts. We've got a lot of them, and what are we talking about today? We're talking about the Freedom Trail. Right, this is the, I'm not going to get into details, you're going to have to Google that, or Tal will throw the Freedom Trail in there, but this is, going back to the American Revolutionary War, when the British are coming, this is the trail that we kind of look at of how the country became free, right? And we all know that story about Plymouth Rock and how things happened and the English and that whole 9 yards. If you don't know that story, you didn't study in school, and it doesn't matter where you went to school in America, you should know the history of America, right? And of course, it started in Massachusetts. All right, so that's right, see? It started here in Massachusetts. Now, we have a lot of trails here, but the Freedom Trail is definitely the most well-known, and it has some of the most historical sites here in Massachusetts as far as the history of the state is concerned. And it's something, if you've been here and you haven't walked it, you definitely have to come check it out. It's something that we've done as a kid. I'm not going to say that we started at the it's 2.5 miles. And I'm not going to say as a kid I walked the whole thing, but there's different places. We would go on field trips, to Concord and Lexington and see some of the battlefields. And, we saw some of the things in the city, growing up there. So it brings you through 16 significant historical sites, and it's a really cool thing to do. And so I ask you, when you come to Massachusetts, check out the Freedom Trail. So when you start going through the Freedom Trail, you're going to see museums, you're going to see churches, there's parks, there's houses, there's meeting houses, there's a ship. Yep, there's a ship. There's burial grounds. There's all kinds of things. And one of the things that we talk about as far as burial grounds, and it's weird, why are we talking about dead people? Well, I got a secret. Shh. We're all going that way. Okay, don't tell anyone. Okay, so the Granary Burial Ground was established in the 1600s, and this, there's about 2,300 markers. Sorry, there's about 2,300 markers there, and there's a lot of notable Americans that are buried there. So it's one of those places that, when you stop and you think about this whole process that had as far as freeing America from the British, it's really cool to look at some of their names. It's interesting to look at some of the dates of how long people actually lived. Some of them are really short-lived and some of them a little bit longer. And again, going way back to the 1600s, you don't have these beautiful, what do they call them? Headstones. Headstones with all the etched in things. I mean, might get this like weird little skull and this thing in there, but it's, there's some really cool art. I don't want to say art. There's some really cool things that you can do as far as art is concerned. I've seen people go with like charcoal and kind of, do an imprint on there. So you want to respect the dead. You want to respect what happened. It's history. You want to be careful, where you step, and you might not have access to that. You might get in trouble. But that's just a sidestep conversation about going to cemeteries. Weird spin on that. Okay. So now one of the most famous places is the State House. Now it's this huge, massive thing. It's one of the oldest surviving public buildings that's here in the city. It's a museum now, built in 1736. Built in 1713. This became the site of the Boston Massacre back on March 5th in 1770. So again, if you want to pull out the history books and see what that was all about. We're not talking about all these sad things in today's video. This is not really where we go. But we're talking about how the American Revolution was started. So of course there's going to be some blood, sweat, and tears that come with this video. So usually we're upbeat, upbeat and talking puppies and unicorns. And for the people first watching this, that's not true. We talk about all kinds of things in Massachusetts. All right. So one of the other places you're going to stop is one of the churches is the Old North Church, built in 1723. This is the city's oldest church, and what's cool about this is that you have the Paul Revere statue, and this is part of this trail of where Paul Revere rode out to kind of warn everyone what was happening. Because if you think about it, today in 2022, they didn't have the cell phones to be like, hey, get ready, here they come, and people aren't glued to their TVs watching cable access like, all right, we know it's coming. They didn't know, right? The Indians were smart. They used smoke signals, but the early guys, they had to jump on a horse and run through with a bell and start screaming, and people are like, what the heck's going on here? It's like, the British are coming, the British are coming. So it's like, when are they coming? I don't know, but they're coming. So they're not driving in tanks or high-powered vehicles, so however long it took for them to march, Anyway, so strange visuals. Now, as we're talking about Paul Revere, we got to stop in Boston's North End, right? And it is well known for its Italian flavor and population. So you want some good food, you definitely want to go there. But we're not talking about restaurants on this one. The Paul Revere house was built in 1680, and it was owned by him from 1770 to the 1800s. So he was there for about 30 years. He had residency there. So that's a cool place to go check out as well. All these things have to do with history, and if you're not a history or antique buff, it's still one of those things like, just remember, the land of opportunity. Yes, we have some challenges and people could say what you want to say, but this is still the greatest country, in the world, in my opinion, and most of the people that live here. So stop and appreciate what has happened over time. Now, very close to the Revere house is Faneuil Hall, and that was built in 1741. That was known for the kind of the hub. This is where people are. Let's talk about the Boston Bruins, right? Like, how do you pull hockey into this conversation? And I'm looking down at one of my hockey pictures right here. So if you look at the Bruins logo, there's a B with these 8 spokes, and it had to do with the colonies and really the hub of the city or of the community. So this is definitely where the hub of the commerce, that's my point of this, why am I talking about the hub and the whole thing, but that is the hub of commerce was Faneuil Hall. And this was, back in the 1700s, this was one of the first, meeting halls in America. Today, very different. It's a place that it still has the cobblestones, which is really cool, but this is definitely a tourist attraction. There's a lot of cool places down there. Tyler and I actually went to a Bruins game, and we did a little vlog through that area, and you'll be able to see some of the street performers and some of the beautiful history, that we have in our city. So go back to that one. That was a really fun one to do. And hey, Tyler, thanks for bringing me to that Bruins game that time. That was cool. All right, we got to go back again. They're in the playoffs right now. Go Bruins! All right, so back to the Freedom Trail. It's free. All right, so
You're feeling it.
I'm feeling it. All right. Also on the Freedom Trail is the ship, right? And I'm not saying the ship, but we talked about there's a ship, and you're like, where does this come from? Well, Old Ironsides, right? This is the oldest warship that's still afloat. The USS Constitution survived the Battle of 1812. I think this is a cool place to go see. Charlestown's there. The Bunker Hill Monument is there. There's a lot of action that happened there. And what I tie to emotionally when it comes to the USS Constitution, it actually will come out every couple of years and do a turnaround just to keep everything moving. And I love the fact here in Massachusetts we had this the tall parade, and the tall parade was all these ships that would come in. They were all these sailboats, and they would just come in one after the other, and it was, I have pictures when I was a kid on the beach watching them come through, and now, like as a kid, it was really exciting. I don't know if I'd spend 4 hours just watching another sailboat go by. I like history, but I don't know if I like boats that much to watch that. But there's boats from all over the country, so I take that back. Like, we should go check it out when it comes, right?
Yeah.
Right? Something different. Yeah. I haven't been there in a long time, so Tyler and I just agreed we're going to go check out the tall ship. So we'll do a vlog of that.
Yeah.
Right? We'll give commentary on all the boats from all over the countries, right? So if you, it's cool. So if you're watching this from another country, we'll tell you what we think about your boat. Okay, so the other thing is when you're in the Freedom Trail, back in 1634, this is where Boston Common was established. Now, this is America's oldest park, and we have green space in the city. we have this thing called the Emerald Triangle, not the Emerald Triangle. We have this thing called the Emerald Necklace, and it is, open space that kind of goes through the city, down through Jamaica Plain, and it really starts, in my opinion, in Boston Common. So this was a 44-acre parcel of land, right? And one of the first European settlers, by the name of William Blackstone, was the person that actually sold that, and he was an evangelical minister. So that has a lot of history to it as well. And today, the Boston Common is really cool because it's not like oh my gosh, what's that place in New York? What's the park?
Oh, Central Park.
Central Park.
Yeah.
All right, so it's not like Central Park in New York where you have these major skyscrapers and it's like a real big city, right? Like we have a real city, but when we're fighting against New York, we know that you guys got the big buildings, okay? So we get it. But when it comes to the Boston Common, it's surrounded by all these different beautiful historic buildings, and it's really nice. They have this place called the Frog Pond where they fill in and you can go ice skating. There's usually vendors there, and it's a nice place to just kind of take your time and walk through. So I always recommend it. It's awesome when it comes to New Year's Eve because there's all kinds of ice sculptures, and it's really a fun place to go. The last thing we're going to talk about, and again, there's 16 different stops, and you guys would fall asleep if you kept watching. So, all right, now, when you're in Boston, there is two well-known streets, we know them really well. There's Park Street and there's Tremont Street. And that's the Park Street Church. Now, back in 1809, when this was founded, this was actually one of the first landmarks that travelers would see because the thing is like 217 feet as far as the steeple concerned. So that was kind of the landmark that people would look for, and it used to be like it used to be on top of an old grain storage building. So that's a really impressive historical marker in Boston as well. We have so many of them, and there's so many stops on the Freedom Trail, but you got to check it out. All right, so we just want to give you a couple of the stops on the Freedom Trail. Again, what's a fun thing to do, especially if you grow up here in the city? Like we don't go to do all these things, and we definitely that's a tourist trap. However, we have so many cool things to do that get into the trap and check it out. And this is something that's free, so you don't have to pay money. So, as far as the Freedom Trail, I'm not an expert on the Freedom Trail. However, if you need information on that, I'll direct you in the right way. You have questions as far as, you're looking for area attractions that are fun. You're looking information on the housing market, whether you're going to rent here or buy here, good places to vacation. Reach out to us any way you want to. We'll get back to you as quick as we can. We absolutely love the support. We thank you for checking us out. When it comes to Massachusetts, the biggest thing you have to remember, we've always got your back.